If you don't know how to organize ISO 42001 training and awareness, then this video is for you. So I'll show you what are the requirements of ISO 42001 about training and awareness. These are clauses 7.2 and 7.3. And then I'll show you a couple of examples on how to organize training for AI governance. And then I'll also show you how to organize AI awareness for ISO 42001 for AI governance. And I'll also show you how to use a training platform to organize ISO 42001 training and awareness in your company. So after you watch this video, you'll have a clear idea on what is, let's say, the quickest way to organize training and awareness in your company for AI governance and for ISO 42001. Okay, let's start first with the requirements. So clause 7.2 is called competence, and basically it's not very detailed. It says that you first have to define what are the necessary competencies for any role that is relevant for AI management system. Then you have to evaluate if all the persons that are doing these roles really have these competencies. And then as a third step, you have to acquire competencies for people where you actually notice that there is a gap between what is needed and what certain people have for certain roles. So let me give you an example. Let's say that you want to hire ISO 42001 internal auditor, so a person that needs to perform internal audits in your company. First, you would define what are the competencies. In this case, this would be a very detailed knowledge of ISO 42001, but also skills related to auditing. In the second step, you would actually evaluate if this person that you intended to be this internal auditor has these competencies. And basically you can find this out by simply speaking to this person and also asking this person to show you the certificates and his or her CV. And then if you notice that this person does not have either the knowledge for 42001 or auditing, then you could send this person for ISO 42001 internal auditor course to actually acquire the competencies that this person needs. Now clause 7.3 is called awareness. It's very short as well, and basically it says that companies need to raise awareness of their employees related to their AI policy. What are the roles and responsibilities of each and every person that works with AI in the company, and basically how they can contribute to AI governance, and also the consequences if employees are not following internal policies and procedures related to AI. And by the way, these requirements are very, very similar to other similar standards like ISO 27001 for cybersecurity or ISO 9001 for quality management. So basically all of them have these same requirements for training and awareness. Okay, let's now see what kind of training methods you can use. As I already mentioned, you can actually send your employees for any kind of an external course. So let's say that you have a developer that develops your AI system, and then you can send this person for a specific course that explains this particular technology that he or she is working on. You can also organize in-house training. You can gather a group of people that need to gain the same skills, and then you find a trainer and basically you organize this training, which can last 1 hour or maybe 1 day or 1 week or whatever is needed. Reading literature is also a way to train someone, although it's not very, practical because you can't really expect someone to read, numerous books in a very short time and that he or she actually understands everything perfectly. So I would say reading literature actually is a very good training method, but basically it's probably the most effective as a kind of an add-on to some other training methods that I discuss here. You can also use a mentorship where someone with greater experience actually teaches this particular job to someone who has less experience. And of course, there are other training methods, but the point is that you can select a training method that best suits actually your situation and also the skills that you want to build. Now, since I mentioned ISO 42001 courses, let me very briefly go through the most popular courses. So there is this ISO 42001 Foundations course. And basically the best target group for this course are, let's say, members of the project team, maybe members of the middle management, members of the senior management. Then there is this internal auditor course, which is obviously intended for internal auditors. And then there is this 42001 lead auditor course. And this one is basically intended for auditors, so people that want to work as certification auditors in certification bodies. And then there is this ISO 42001 lead implementer course, which is mainly intended for people who are in charge of actually managing the whole implementation project, but it is also very popular also with consultants. And if you're interested in these courses, in the description below you'll find a link for some free courses on these topics. Now let's see how you can actually organize in-house training. And the most important thing is actually that you match the audience with the topics, training topics. Now, how do you do that? First, you actually have to organize this audience, I mean employees from your company, in certain groups. And for example, this could be a group based on your department. So you could have, let's say, employees in a software development department, or you could have employees that are on the same organizational level, so let's say mid-level management, or you could have, for example, people that are part of the same process. So let's say all employees that are part of this process for purchasing and maintaining AI services. And then once you create these audiences, meaning that you actually segment these people into these groups, then you actually have to find the most appropriate topics for these people, because you're not going to present the same topics, let's say, to senior management and also to software developers. Obviously, we'll have different types of training for them. Now, how do you find which topics to present to them? Well, basically you go back to these initial requirements from clause 7.2, where you actually have to see exactly what kind of competencies are actually needed for each and every role in your company. But this is not going to be enough. You also have to take into account, is this going to be a training for beginners or for advanced users? How long is it going to last? What are the specific requirements from the standard, or perhaps from your own internal policies and procedures? Which language you have to deliver this training in? Also, what are the requirements of, let's say, laws, but local laws in a particular country, and so on. So when you put all of these things together, then you will have a much clearer idea of what kind of topics you have to present to these specific audiences in this in-house training. So for example, if you want to organize a training for your senior management, then you actually obviously have to make it very short, let's say half an hour or maybe an hour. And the topics in this particular training would be about what are the basic principles of AI governance, what is the role of senior management when it comes to AI governance, also what are the requirements of ISO 42001 when it comes to senior management. Now, what are some ways to organize AI awareness in your company? And again, there are several methods on how you can do this. For example, you can use videos, and in these videos you can, for example, explain what are the basic requirements from your AI policies and procedures, what are the basic concepts of AI governance, how AI systems work, these kind of things. And videos are basically great for this kind of a purpose, because once you record them, you can actually distribute them very easily across your company. Of course, you can also use some external videos for that purpose. You could also publish articles in your intranet, so basically only for your employees to see, or you could also send them some kind of a newsletter if you're already using this kind of a method of communication. Again, you can present more or less similar topics there. You could also organize short presentations. So basically you can use some kind of gathering that you already have in your company, and then as part of this gathering also show things about AI governance in your company. You could also use some kind of internal messaging applications or discussion groups where you actually raise some questions and discuss various topics around AI governance. So again, as with the training, you actually have to judge which of these methods would suit you actually best in your particular circumstances. Now, just to mention that there is also this concept called AI literacy, and it is not mentioned in ISO 42001, but for example, EU AI Act does require companies that need to comply with this act to actually organize AI literacy. Now, this act does not specify what AI literacy is. So you can interpret this AI literacy in a way that, let's say, best suits the needs of your company. But in any case, AI literacy would typically cover at least awareness, AI awareness, as described as required by ISO 42001. In some cases, this AI literacy could also include training. And I'm telling you this because if you have to comply with both ISO 42001 and with EU AI Act, then you can actually organize this AI awareness and AI training and basically present this as AI literacy from the EU AI Act point of view. Okay, let me now show you how you can use Advisera's training platform to organize ISO 42001 training and awareness. Okay, this is how this Competence Training Academy from Advisera looks like once you log in. And basically this is a training platform with lots of videos. So let me show you this lessons library, and let me filter this by 42001. So when I apply this, you will see only the videos for 42001. And as you will see, there are lots of them, almost 60 videos here. So these are the videos that describe generally 42001 and also AI terminology, machine learning, but also specific clauses from 42001. So understanding the context, the organization in its context, determining the scope, and so on and so forth. As you will see, there are lots of such videos. So let me open one of them for you to see actually what it looks like. So 42001. This is about AI impact assessment. As you can see, it covers the main clause 6.1.4, but also Annex 8.5, because it also speaks about AI impact assessment. And when you click the preview of this video, it will start running. As you will see, it's 4 minutes long. So all of these videos are rather short. They're actually easily digestible. Anyway, when you set up training, I'll show you this very briefly. You actually have to select a framework. And then what's good is actually that the system already suggests you a series of videos which are specifically made for a particular audience. So again, you're not going to show all the 55 videos to everyone in the company, but for example, for senior management, there will be only, let's say, 10 or so videos which are relevant only for them. So this is actually how the system works. It suggests you the most appropriate videos, and then as you go through this wizard, it enables you to send these videos in a specific frequency to the targeted audiences. Okay, hope this was helpful, and let me know in the comments below if you have any questions about ISO 42001 training and awareness, and I'll respond as quick as I can. And to access this company training academy that I was showing you, click the link in the description below, and you'll be able to open a free trial account where you can actually test out all the videos, all the training programs there with several of your employees. And see also my next video that gives you a detailed overview of how Company Training Academy works. And if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, and you can also subscribe to my YouTube channel not to miss any of my new videos, and I publish videos about AI governance and cybersecurity governance every week. Thanks for watching.